Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, back in Studio 3B, and we've got a neat edition of American Hardwood Advisor for you today. My guest today, I've known him since he was born, and Mr. Matt Baird of Baird Tree Service, LLC. Matthew, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, anytime.
I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy. You're hard to corral in. And,
yeah, with everything going on, and
right?
It's hard to step away.
Hey,
so.
We really appreciate you spending some time with us. We mentioned you're busy. You started your business, what, about 10 years ago?
Yeah, in 2013, we started. So I was working here at the time, and Uncle Paul came up to me and said, "Hey, we want to trim this fence line for the employees. They're getting branches on their parking lot." I said, "Okay, I got it." Went out back, got the man lift, realized that wasn't going to work. So then I've always wanted to start my own business and go in from there. And I was in school at Kent State for arboriculture and urban forestry. So I got on the internet, found a bucket truck in Columbus, had it shipped here, and we started. This is our first job, working here.
Yeah.
Cutting the tree line here, and then I figured, hey, if I can do 1 or 2 jobs a month and make that payment, I can have a side hustle. And then it turned into full-time and hiring employees, and it went from there.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about some of the equipment you have, because it amazes me. You've had it, some of your prior equipment. You've displayed it at our Red, White, and True event here on the grounds at 7060, and but before that, business is important. You've got this family started. The wife and your daughter Ada, what, 4 years old now?
Yeah, she just turned 4.
She's a handful.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She take after you or her mother?
It's a combination of both.
Right?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, good. That's good. I see you bring her up to the offices every once in a while.
Yeah, she loves to come up here and see everybody and leave everybody notes, and I think she tells Uncle Benny to clean his desk. It's a mess, and Uncle Zach smells, So
she's not short on personality.
No.
Oh, that's great. That is great. So, tell the folks where you're located.
We're actually right next door, 7196 Corey Road. You got to go past us to come here.
Right.
So.
Okay, and you've got your shop over there and your yard.
Yep.
Tell the folks about your services, because it's just not about cutting trees down.
No, so we like this weekend we have a winter storm coming in, so it's either going to swing with a lot of snow or ice and then snow and high winds. So we'll go out, we can come to your property, assess your trees, and give our opinion on whether it needs to come down, or we can trim it or evaluate it. But I always tell people, if you think it's unsafe, it's better to take it down than to wait for this winter storm or a summer storm to come in, and then you have you get into insurance claims, and you get displacement of your family for however long it takes to rebuild your house or fix the damages.
Oh, so it's crucial. It's crucial.
And in the long run, you spend a few hundred or a few $1,000s versus the time you'll never get back being in your home, and
you don't have to touch your homeowner's policy.
Yeah.
Right.
And the money, and it's just going to be cheaper in the long run to deal with it now than to wait.
Before we go any further, that's BairdTreeService.com. You've got a great website, man.
Yes.
Really nice, really nice. Folks, you can visit the website. you can see everything you need to know about this guy and his company in Baird Tree Service. A lot of ways to reach out to you. bairdtreeservice@gmail.com.
Yes.
It's on your website. Call now for a free estimate, 330-550-8759.
Yes.
Right? So a couple points of contact. And the website, folks, is fantastic. You have your homepage, your gallery is really cool, has some great photography on it. And then the contact us. And it's a good visit, folks. It tells you a lot about what you need to know about Matt Baird and Baird Tree Service. So,
Steve, if you look at that gallery, that bucket truck that's on there is actually the truck that we started here at Baird Brothers, trimming the tree line with. And then you go on there and it's got Brother Zach and Ben, and one of the biggest trees at the time that we've cut down. And that was a proud moment for them boys to stand on that log. And they said, hey, get our picture. We want to show it off.
And that's so cool. Zach and Benny.
Yeah.
They're both here and at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods working, and they still you need a hand, they'll jump in for you.
Yeah.
And for sometimes Zach did a lot of your estimating work, right?
He did, yeah, he did. He did through college. He was doing estimating and working. And Benny, he through high school when they get done at school, and Nate and Sarah did a little bit. And Benny and Zach they're redoing their house over there, and they wanted to do it on a Saturday so they could help. I said, okay, how much help are they going to be? And they were a little rusty, but they still grabbed a saw and cut, and they did good.
So, and this is cool, folks. These third generation kids, as I still refer to them, you mentioned your other brother Nate, and Nate is in the lumber business in the sense of his land clearing and forestry service that he offers. So you guys were born into it, and you might not be here on campus every day, you're right next door, but you're all still in the forestry industry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to say that our family's been in the tree business for 60 years.
62?
62 years,
right.
And we're proud of our roots.
Yeah.
So it's it comes full circle. We are actually cutting trees on residential lots that our grandfather and great uncles passed over when they were clearing the land for the fairgrounds or cutting timber around here.
Right.
That's it's crazy to have that piece of history. I mean, when I bought this lot over here, we left some of the big white oaks stand, and Uncle Paul came over and said, hey, I farmed around those when I was a kid. That's why they're so damn big.
Right.
I said, well, I mean, we try to preserve them as much as we can and keep them because the history that's around them.
And that is really cool. And to you folks that follow us, we tout here. We really talk about the family orientation, and it's just not if your last name's Baird. It's every employee on this campus, and that's the approach that your Aunt Lori. I mean, she instills that in everybody, and for that, about Uncle Paul saying, well, I farmed around these trees.
Yeah,
when he was a kid, and over on your property now, and of course the homestead just down the road, and that's a great story. That how you said it. It's full circle. It's full circle, and the really neat thing with your Baird Tree Service, you run across everything and anything.
Yeah.
And talk to me about, okay, you're out on the job site, you're cutting trees down, and the tree itself determines what you do with it. In the sense, is it firewood? Is it grade logs? Is it blocking logs?
Okay.
Take us through that.
Yeah, so when we come out and evaluate, Steve, you say you got a tree you want to take down, and we'll come out and say, hey, we can use that, whether we're not going to come out and pay you for it because of the cost of everything that comes into taking it down, but we keep that in the back of our mind at the end of the day, say, hey, well, that can go into railroad ties, or that can eventually come back here after we sell it to another mill, because some of that wood actually comes back here. We don't know it, but it comes back.
And at that point, what we're talking about, folks, you might cut down a tree for whatever reason it has to come down, and it might have a couple beautiful butt logs on it, as we call them, right?
Beautiful grade logs.
Nice grade logs. So those you might take to a sawmill up north, and sell them off to him, and then they go through the sawmill process of sawing it, and in turn, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods might purchase lumber off of that mill.
From that mill, yeah.
That you cut down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it comes back here, and then it goes out into all over the country and the world from Baird Brothers.
Yeah. So trees you're cutting down could be turned into interior doors, hardwood flooring, wall paneling, moldings, whatever.
Yeah.
And so again, that circle just went around again.
Yeah. It's. But yeah, we do. So we do sell, our grade logs, our blocking logs, and then we just actually put in a firewood kiln beginning of this year, where we can dry 6 cords in 36 hours. From green standing trees, it'll be dried down to 10%.
Okay, so you don't only have Baird Tree Service, LLC.
Correct.
But after you perform the task for your customer, there's limbs, there's this, there's that, there's the butt logs, the grade logs, the junk logs.
Yeah.
You take it a further step, and just like here at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, we try and leave the smallest footprint that we can, and we try to utilize our natural resource as much as we can. You're doing the same thing.
Correct.
So you take your limbs, your not grade logs. You have a firewood business also.
We do have a firewood business, yes.
Same contact as I mentioned?
Same contact.
Okay,
Yep.
so BairdTreeService.com.
Yep.
And the phone number again, 330-550-8759. You sell pickup truckloads of firewood? You sell dump truckloads of firewood?
We sell pickup loads, half cord, full cords. Hell, I'll load it on a semi and sell it to you.
Yeah.
If we can get it there.
Oh, okay, so you're into a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Earlier on, and before I go back to the equipment, just skate through all the services you do provide. They're listed on your website.
They are.
But take the folks through them.
We provide tree removal, land clearing, and stump grinding. And we also sell firewood.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
So here's a scenario. You come out to my place. I got this twin maple, right? And they don't grow up together, they grow away.
Correct.
I want that down. But I have a wood burner at home. Will you come out and just drop a tree and leave it for the homeowner?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get it on the ground, make it safe, and chip the brush, leave the brush, whatever you want to do. If you want us to haul the wood away, we'll take the wood. You want us to leave the wood, stack the wood. However.
So you're real flexible in the service that you provide as far as falling trees and things of that nature. That's cool. Equipment. I know, and again, I'll make the analogy. You were paying attention to your grandfather, Richard. Mm-hmm. He lived by the mentality of, if my business is going to be strong, I'm going to reinvest in it.
Correct.
You've done the same thing.
Correct.
Take us through some of your equipment that you have. Folks, visit the website, the gallery. You show some pictures of your cranes and some of your pickers and stuff. Tell the folks what you have.
So in the early years, 2013, we started out with that bucket truck that you see on there, and we had a dump trailer. We stacked all the brush and all the logs in that dump trailer. Manual labor. Zach and Ben, they hated me, because that's the easiest way to do it at the time. And then eventually I bought the chip truck, and then we buy a chip truck, you gotta buy a chipper. So we invested into the chipper. It was 12-inch, and they hated it because you can't chip much with a 12-inch. So then we bought an 18-inch chipper. Loved it. And then we invested in a dump truck. Well, we took the bucket truck and converted it to a dump truck. Now we can haul our logs off site, and we had a machine and we could load the logs. And then it got to the point where, okay, this is great, but we need something better, because we were renting cranes, we were subbing out most of our crane work, and we weren't bringing that money back into the business. We were putting it out into other businesses. So me and my father-in-law took a trip to North Carolina in 2019 to look at our first crane, and my mind was set. It wasn't convincing me, it was convincing my father-in-law and my wife to do this. And she goes, you know what, if it's gonna make your life easier and you're gonna grow the business, let's do it. And I said, okay. So we went down, looked at it, and he talked my ear off the whole way there and the whole way back. The whole way back, he couldn't believe how easy it was to take down a 20-inch maple tree with just a crane, because it was a knuckle boom crane, extends out, you throw a grapple head saw on it, but you can grab the limb, cut, set it down. You don't have to put somebody in a tree. You don't have to climb the tree or lower it down with ropes. And we took that whole tree down to where we could drop the log in an hour.
What kind of reach does that have on it?
So that first crane had 96 foot of boom, but our crane now has 125 feet. And a lot of the pictures we have are parking in the front yard and reaching over the house and taking that tree down, where before we would have to lay plywood down for days and then rope that tree down. And most of the trees now, it's like, how do we do that in a day, or how do we do that in a day and a half? Or now we're doing it in 4 or 5 hours. And
with a big investment.
With our big investment and our full turnaround on the equipment. And now it's just, you look back and it's, how did we ever work, without this equipment now? I mean, the same thing here. I mean, you look around the studio, it's like, how do guys run these hand planers when we have 4, 5, 6 motors pumping out the moldings and the trim? And
exactly. And it's the same thing. I mean, when I came in here, we had an old co-employee, Butch. Butch was known for how he could run a rip saw. Every stick of trim went through a manual rip saw.
Yeah.
Today, back in Terry's building, it's automated.
It's all automated.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
the same thing with your business. You can come onto a folk's property, be in and out, debris gone.
Yeah.
And literally not have to move that big equipment onto their lot.
Correct. I like to tell people that, if you didn't know the tree was there, you didn't know we were there. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you're going to have left in your yard is the stump grindings.
Yeah.
Or, we do offer that service of cleaning that up and planting grass. But a lot of people they do that because it gives them something to do. And they like to plant their own grass and groom their own grass in their yard. And the crane we have now provides such little impact to yards. And before you'd lay the plywood down and have to deal with all that and the extra manpower and money and plywood. Yeah, we still use a ton of plywood, but it's, before you'd have that whole area around that tree torn up because you're lowering the branches down, you got foot traffic, if it's wet, you're tearing the yard up just by walking in it. And now as you set that crane up, reach out, grab the branch. I mean, most of the time we're setting stuff in the street, where we're not even setting stuff in the yard or impacting the yard with the logs or the limbs. And it's 126 feet goes a long way. I'm gazing through your website as we're talking and listening to you, and at the bottom of your homepage, I find this interesting, and it just struck me. We have our rendition of Baird, building an atmosphere of importance, reliability, and direction. Okay, that's kind of our model. You have Baird's, and this is on the website, folks. Baird's, being the best, above and beyond, integrity, responsibility, determination, and safety.
bam, safety. I mean, same thing here, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's number one. I tell the guys every day, I said, do your job quickly, correctly, and safely. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it safely, you might not be going home. You might be going home with an injury. So it's just everything in our industry, whether it's at Baird Brothers or at Baird's Tree Service, will come out and bite you if you don't do it safely.
Very true. Very true. Well, hey, folks, you've heard it. Matt Baird, Baird Tree Service, LLC, BairdTreeService.com. The phone number again, folks, 330-550-8759. You have a tree problem at home or suspect that it might be a problem, get a hold of them. They'll come out, visit you, give you a couple remedies, and get it taken care of for you. Matt, congratulations on the success, continued success. Thanks again for popping in on us. We appreciate it. Always good to see you around the campus here. Folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, another edition of American Hardwood Advisor. Stay tuned, more coming at you.
For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time,